Thanks for logging in to your next episode of V-Gaming, starring the Save Rinks. That sounds so pretentious. It's so jacked up. We're just talking video games here, right? Right? We're just talking video games here, right? Ooh, look at the burn in. Can you guys see that? Do you guys see this? I burnt in my OLED TV so bad. Ooh, I need to run the pixel refresh like today. It's so bad. I've been treating my TV so terrible. It's got a dead pixel right here in the middle that you can't see unless I turn off the screen. OLEDs and video games do not mix. This one's been doing pretty good, though. I've had it for a few years. But I digress. We're not here for that. Thanks for tuning in. Join me on our Steam group over at V-Gaming over on Steam. And join me on Twitter at V-Gaming, where hopefully you get updates. I've been kind of radio silent the last 2 days. I've been trying to upload these daily. It's Tuesday, the 4th today. And this video should be up about 6 p.m. Pacific time. That seems to be the sweet spot where I get the most views, so that's when I'll usually be posting 6 p.m. I just want to say specific time. Pacific time. You know, the West Coast, the best coast. You know, West Coast is canon. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but anyway, I digress. When we're not on fire or having volcanoes or whatever the heck's going on out here. But anyway, today's video is topical. It's timely. There's been a lot of pony talk going on. There's the ponies have been getting pretty uppity, and there's been a lot of fanboyerisms going around, and Xbots and ponies and PC Master Race and ponies, and just lashing out saying that Xbox is dead for the 27th billionth time, saying it's all over for them, and there's no compelling reason to own an Xbox, even though that's the only console that has Game Pass on it. But besides that, there's no compelling reason to have it. I mean, it is the best backwards compatibility machine, you know. It does have the cheapest entry point machine, you know. But, other than that, there's no reason to own an Xbox. Why would you own an Xbox? You know, if you're a parent and your kid says, Mom, Dad, I want video games, grab this and grab a year's worth of Game Pass. You're Gucci. And I have a PC. I'm streaming on a really good PC right now, and the PC is my main platform because it's got the most games on that one box, including all the Xbox games. But I like to have that too because if I want to go out and play something on the TV, or if I want to move that somewhere, I keep looking at my second monitor. I'll stop that. If I want to go play in the living room with my kids, if I want to do stuff, my saves transfer back and forth. My Game Pass works on this as well as my PC, so I can see if you're single and it's just you, it would only make sense to own one of them. In between an Xbox and a PC, it's kind of a no-brainer to get the PC. But the Xbox does have its uses. It does have its niche. And 2/3 of their 30 million Game Pass subs are on the Xbox. So why would they ever quit the Xbox? That doesn't make any sense at all. They make service devices. They used to make phones. Microsoft does have hardware out there in the wild. You go to Best Buy, there is a whole Surface laptop section. They do have hardware. So why would it be weird for them to have hardware? Anyway, it's not really their forte, but they have it. But I digress. This whole video is about, and I'll get to it now, 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. Jeez, sorry about that, you guys. Today's video is about how the ponies are saying how Sony is not a third-party publisher. How they're all saying, oh no, I guess Xbox is a third-party publisher, since the announcement of Forza Horizon 5 coming to PlayStation, which is a great thing for you. That's also going to bury Gran Turismo 7, because Gran Turismo 7 kind of came and went. They kind of got greedy with it, with the microtransactions, and it wasn't that big of a generational leap over previous ones. Actually, there was fewer cars, because I guess the licensing was kind of screwed up. So there was the fewest cars in 7. And if you're hardcore into it, you got the whole full racing rig and you do it professionally or semi-professionally or in your head professionally, fantastic. But there are other alternatives out there. And Forza kind of is the seminal racer of this generation. You might even say the last 2 generations, Forza has been the seminal racer. So it coming to PlayStation is a great thing. And that'll be, the 10th live service game that Xbox will have on PlayStation, while PlayStation's canceled 10 live service games, and the 2 that they didn't cancel, 1 they didn't make, which is Helldivers 2, and it's more popular on the PC than it is on the PlayStation. And the second one was Concord. What's a Concord? Who said that? What's Concord? We're just going to pretend like that didn't exist. But I'm here to tell you, Sony has been publishing games third party since forever. and I can prove it to you. And I don't really see this come up too much in the general discussion, so that's what I'm here for. Now, as a little bit of background, I was born in 1976. This is the Sony I was always used to seeing, right? You know, you got your Walkman Sony. This is the classic Walkman. I had this one, the Sony Sportsman. I used to love this thing. I used to mow lawns with this because it was watertight and it would drizzle out there on me and I could still mow my lawn. $280. This thing was amazing. It got stolen at a Christian retreat. Let that sink in. I took it to a Christian retreat and it got stolen. But anywho, I digress. So when I was growing up, I knew them for the Walkman. And I knew them for their boom boxes and cassette recorders. And I knew them for their Betamax. Oh, actually, these are stereo receivers. They're still really, really well received as stereo receivers to this day. It's kind of their bread and butter. So here's the Sony audio section. I knew them for stereos and stuff and receivers. You know, I knew them for those wood grain TVs, the fake wood grain TVs with the silver. Back when all electronics used to look like this and this and this. This is what I knew Sony as, right? Sony Trinitron TV. Remember Trinitron, kids? I also knew them for their Betamax players, and then later on their VHS players, and later on their DAT players. So I say all that to say this. It wasn't until 1989 that I even knew Sony to have anything to do with video games. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Very professional. Let me get some water. I don't know why I started coughing suddenly. In 1989, Sony spun off and created a division called Sony ImageSoft. Now, many of you may or may not remember this symbol right here. They were founded in January 1989, based out of L.A., and it was based off of a subsidiary of the Japan-based CBS Sony Group. This is back when Sony used to be merged with CBS, their television arm there. They have since moved on, and now they're CBS, Paramount. I think CBS is their own thing now. CBS has since spun off, but Sony still owns Paramount and Columbia Pictures and stuff like that, as well as Sony Motion Pictures. You know, when you see that lady with the torch at the beginning of the Columbia movies, and it says a Sony Corporation at the bottom, that's still them from back here. But this was formed in 1989. Their first release was Super Dodgeball. How many of you remember this game? Super Dodgeball is the jam. It was made by Technos. I played the crap out of it. I still play the crap out of it on emulators. Classic game. It was those Technos games back then. So you had like this. This was also out in the arcade. You had like River City Ransom and a couple other games in that vein. They also worked on Solstice. This game used to freak my brother and I out because it has some of the creepiest video game music of all time. That it was really creepy, and when you die, your guy would scream this terrible guttural primal scream, and it freaked my brother and I out. And your robe would fall to the floor with your wizard hat on top, kind of like when Darth Vader cut Obi-Wan down in the original Star Wars, and his robe and his lightsaber kind of like plopped on the floor. That's how you would die in this game, and your guy would go ah, just like blood curdling scream. It freaked my brother and I out, but we used to love it, and it had a really cool like third quarter perspective. And they also produced Dragon's Lair, the NES version. So they had some baller hits their first couple times out. The game I really remember them from was this little gem on the Super Nintendo. I remember I had a Super Nintendo a couple years later, and I went to Hollywood Video, for those that remember Hollywood Video. In my town, we didn't really have a Blockbuster. We had Hollywood Video and Family Video, for those that remember either or both of those. They had Blockbuster like 2 towns over, but in my town, we had Hollywood Video and Family Video. And I remember going to Hollywood Video, and I rented Hook for the Super Nintendo. And I was greeted with this. Y'all see that? Y'all see that Sony ImageSoft thing? This is one of the most underrated games on the Super Nintendo. It's really solid. But yes, great game. And I remember thinking, oh, a Sony game on Nintendo? That's kind of crazy. We all know the origin story of the PlayStation, right? It was supposed to be a CD-ROM add-on for the Super Nintendo. Nintendo completely stiffed Sony and went behind their back and was working on something with Philips, I believe. And Sony was like, "What are you doing? I thought we had a thing going." And Nintendo's like, "No, no, we're good." And Sony's like, "Well, can we at least keep the name?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, fine." And the name of the add-on for the Super Nintendo was going to be called the Super Nintendo PlayStation. Well, Sony kept that name, and the rest is history. Um, so Hook on the Super Nintendo was my first real taste of, oh, Sony makes games for things that aren't Sony. Okay. And there's the PS1. It wasn't until this bad boy right here, that PS1, that classic one, I was the first person that I knew that had a PlayStation. I graduated in 1995, and I took some of my graduation money and I bought the PS1. It was just a PlayStation. There was no PS because there wasn't a PS2 we had to call this the PS1. So I bought the very, very first one. I got Battle Arena Toshinden, I got Ridge Racer, and I got Warhawk. Those were the three games I got at launch. And later on, I got like the X Games game, and I got like some other stuff too. But those are the original ones that I got. And good times, classic times. I'd moved out. I graduated from high school, got my first apartment, and we were playing PS1 in there. And people would come over and be like, "What is that?" Or they'd be like, "Oh, is that PlayStation? Is that Sony console?" People didn't really know the name. So that's how far back I go with this. And then fast forward to modern times. I'm not here to dunk on you ponies. I mean, I got the I got the latest hardware. I got my buyer's remorse 5 sitting right here. That's what I call it. This is not even hooked up, but I have it. And I also have right over here. You can't see it, but I have like the black paneling for it that a friend of mine gave me, and I haven't put it on because I don't even play it. But anyway, I digress. Back to the video. So you have Sony ImageWorks here. So much Sony ImageSoft, and as you can see, they had quite the titles. With that original. Here's Hook, NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Multiplatform publisher. Super Dodgeball, their first one. What are some other ones they have? Mickey Mania, Sewer Shark, Solstice, No Escape. No Escape, like the Ray Liotta movie. That's a great movie. If you haven't seen that, badass movie. Watch that movie. Rest in peace to Ray Liotta. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Last Action Hero, Johnny Mnemonic, Hudson Hawk, Hook. As you can see, they were doing a lot of movies, which makes sense because Sony was, they're affiliated with movie studios and stuff. Flashback, fantastic game if you haven't played that, classic. Equinox, ESPN Baseball Tonight, Hang Time, Cliffhanger. You just lose the feel. You just lose the feel. For those that know, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Three Ninjas Kickback. Oh, the kids love this. So you notice their last game was summer and fall of 1994, because the very next year, this bad boy came out. March 2000. So that's when it got discontinued. When did it launch? Launched in November of 94, I think, in Japan, and then April or early summer over here. I remember there was about a 6 to 8 month delay from when it came out in Japan. Yeah, at least in Japan, December 1994, in North America on September 1995. Oh, that was a while. Okay. Competed with the N64 and the Sega Saturn. And there was an article in the USA Today, the back then that I read, and it had the Saturn, the PlayStation, and the N64 all on one page. And when I tried to Google it, stupid Google AI told me it has not published any specific articles comparing them. Horseshit. I remember reading that article. I read it a few times. It's just they didn't want to catalog it. But I digress. So I say all that to say, and then later on, this was combined into Sony Interactive Entertainment. And y'all know what to do with the Sony Interactive Entertainment. Y'all know what's up. Y'all remember this, right? Sony Computer Entertainment. This is before it was SIE as we know it now. But y'all remember this, though, right? And I say all that to say this. At that stage, they were already well into publishing things on other platforms. Sony ImageWorks was rolled into Sony Computer Entertainment And a division of that was, oh wait, did I not have it saved? Well, they're now known as Daybreak Studios, but they were Sony Online Entertainment, best known for games like EverQuest. And in case you didn't notice, this is my default hoodie, by the way. This is how I make friends in real life. If people recognize this hoodie and they start talking to me, we're instantly friends. I still play Project 99 every once in a while. I can't really play retail EverQuest because that game is literally like going on like 30 years old, and it's got like a billion expansions, and I have no idea what's going on anymore. But it's still going strong. There's still a couple 100,000 people that play that game. There's more people playing that right now than there's people playing Spider-Man 2 on Steam by a factor of like 3 or 4 times. I'm just saying. But they made games such as EverQuest, EverQuest 2, The Matrix Online, which kind of came and went. PlanetSide. I used to play the crap out of the first PlanetSide. I played the second one a little bit. If you scroll way down in my videos, I have like 2 PlanetSide 2 videos, way down that I uploaded like a decade ago on this channel. But I did play it, and I played the first one to death. I played that one quite a bit. Had a good time with that one. I kind of checked out when they started doing like those like underground cave crystal missions or whatever, that expansion. That's when I kind of checked out. But yeah, Vanguard, H1Z1, Dungeons and Dragons Online, Magic the Gathering Online, Lord of the Rings Online. So that's what became, and as of I think of 2015, they were still a part of SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment, until they got spun off into Daybreak here. So I say all of this to say that no one's talking about, Sony has been a third-party publisher forever, even when they had the PlayStation. They've only not been a third-party publisher because when did what was their first game that came out on PC? Horizon. When did Horizon Zero Dawn come out on PC? That's the first one, right? Horizon Zero Dawn. Not remastered. Horizon Zero Dawn. So it's 2007 on PlayStation. When did it come out on PC originally? A port to Windows was released in 2020. So from 2015 to 2020. So in the entire time, so since 1989, Sony has only not multi-published for 5 years. Other than that, they've always been multi-platform. They've always been a multi-platform third-party publisher, always, since 1989. There was only a 5-year stretch from 2015 to 2020 that they weren't a multi-platform third-party publisher. So it's a drop in the bucket for them to go back and do that again. So just so you know, and this is something that I hadn't seen be brought up, in other videos. This is something that people kind of glossed over. Some people had some really good information. Shout out to VG Fight School. Shout out to Dark Doc in 1985. Shout out to Oh No, It's Alex. And shout out to the ponies. You got your Dreamcast guy. You got your MBG or whatever his name is. You got your people like that, and no one's mentioning this. Like, there's no way that they'll do that. Well, they already have been doing it. People want to bring up Lego Horizon Adventures as their first like multi-plat. No, they've been doing it since 1989. They've been doing it since what game was that? Freaking Super Dodgeball. And I played the crap out of this game and didn't realize that was a Sony game, a Sony published game. Solstice as well. My brother and I played the crap out of both of these. When did these come out? 89 and 90. By Technos and Software Creations. So you got your EverQuests, like I said, GOAT MMO. Without this, there's no WoW. Without this, there's no modern MMO. I mean, before that, you had your Ultimas Online and you had Asheron's Call and stuff like that, Dark Age of Camelot. But without this, there's no World of Warcraft. Without this, there's no Final Fantasy 11. There's no Final Fantasy 14. Like, this is the granddaddy that like really, really, really spawned that whole genre. So, you got your EQ, you got your Project 99, you got your PlanetSides 1 and 2, you got your Matrixes online. Here's Google lying about USA Today. And I did find the closest thing here on Icon Era. Someone did put up a post. But this is pretty much the crux of that USA Today article that no longer exists. But let it be known, everyone, that in conclusion, Sony's always been a multi-plat third-party publisher. Only for 5 years were they not. Since 1989. Okay? So it's not a big deal and it's nothing new, and don't be surprised if they go back that way. Don't be surprised if they follow in the footsteps of what Xbox is doing, because they're probably going to be forced to, the way that the industry's going. I have kids, and we have this PlayStation sitting right here. We got that Series S. There's like 3 other gaming computers out here. There's Steam Decks all around. There's Switches. And what do the kids play? They play .io games. They play Roblox. They play Fortnite. They don't really care what they play any of them on, and that's kind of the way it's going. So you're going to have to spread out your games to as many people as possible to make money back on them, so you can keep continuing to make more games, to sell to more people, to spread out, to keep making money, and so on and so forth. And those live service games are going to be crucial, and Forza Horizon 5 is going to be the next big one that's going to be on PlayStation from Microsoft. That'll be 10 live service games that they have on there. But anyway, I'm going back and I'm repeating what I said. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry for the ramblings. I tend to get like this. These videos are kind of like long form-ish, but this is how I roll. I always talk like this to my friends and family or anyone who's interested in listening, and that's how I'm going to do it here on YouTube. So I hope you're locked in for it. I hope you like it. Thanks for tuning in. Check me out on the Steam group. We do free giveaways. I have so many games to give away. So many games to give away on Steam. At my last count, I have about 30 or 40 games that I have doubles of that I can give away. And they're not trash games either. There's some good games in there. I've left over Humble Bundle keys and stuff like that. And hit me up on the Twitters or Elon Musk's X. And we can you can get notified there. I don't really be on there too much. I might say some stuff every once in a while, but it's really just so you guys are notified of when my videos get posted. All right. Y'all be good. I'll see you in the next one. Any ideas you guys might have for other videos, let me know down in the comments too. I do have a list, and I do like to be timely and keep up with timely things. But any suggestions you guys might have, I do like doing deep dive videos like this, where of topics that people kind of skirt around but don't really get into the nitty gritty and break it down like this. So you just let me know. Peace. Next time.